One of the criticisms I get as a content creator is I use the word noob too freely. I will describe someone with 3 Transcendence heroes who's a bit of a bozo as a noob. And people are like, that's not a noob. A noob's someone who's new to the game. So, because comment sections are clearly the most intelligent people and the people that I should listen to when it comes to telling me how to title my videos, today we're going to look at a noob according to your definitions. This person is level 89 and has been playing for less than a month and has never built a 10-star hero. That's right, we've got a super noob! Yay! Welcome to this account where we have an E+ Siahu, a 9-star Garuda, an 8-star Azrael, an 8-star MKxJUMP, and an 8-star Penny. Now, if you've joined us in the Idle Heroes community recently, your account might look something like this. And if it does, you're a noob, because this demonstrates one of the classic mistakes, which I talk about very often, called building wide. And it's something that's true at the end of the game, it's something that's true at the early of the game, but really early on, it's a very dangerous thing to do, because building wide is where you invest in lots of potentially good heroes, and then you reach this moment. You've got a 9-star Garuda, and you discover, hang on, I need a 9-star to improve Garuda to 10-star? But I like my Siahu. And my Azrael, when he gets to 9-star, I don't want to feed him either. And the MKxJUMP's pretty fun. And it's at this point you realize you've made a mistake, because what you've done is you've built too many good heroes, and therefore you haven't got any bad heroes to feed to your actual good heroes. And this is a common mistake loads of people make, and I've made tons of videos about. But there's something even better. DH Games surprised us recently. They had an event called the Shishi Festival, and you could have spent 25,000 gems. And for an early player, that's a lot of the gems. This guy only has 6,500 gems, well, 6.8 if you're pedantic. And that's a lot of gems, but not a lot for events. It's just enough to get by on a daily basis. When a big event like the Shishi Festival comes, 25,000 gems was what you needed to get a top reward. Now, Faye, the owner of this account, was a good noob. Faye saved up all the gems and was able to enter in on that particular part of the event. And you can see in the bag we managed to get some sublimation and stellar shards and crystals of transcendence, everything you would get from that. Even some master's toolboxes showed up, some hard rock and some fine wood. And amongst all those things we accumulated, we were able to get ourselves to the top reward in the Shishi Festival for a free-to-play player using those 25,000 gems. And the top reward was anything you wanted. It could have been half a core of origin. It could have been an artifact chest. It could have been a flag, if you really wanted to. Heck, you could have even chosen 1,000,000 crystals of transcendence and 1,000,000 stellar shards. All of those things were options. But so was 400 relics. And that scares me, because I didn't even consider that 400 relics was going to be an option. And if it was, it's because whoever picks up those relics is hoping to get whatever artifact they want. It's just a weird way of selecting your artifact. That's fine. But no. Faye, the owner of this account, chose the relics and decided that this wonderful piece of power creep like a golden crown, attack, HP, and all damage reduction wasn't good enough. Demon Belt, with its energy feed, wasn't good enough. Atlas came with its precision attack, skill damage, melodic strings, all of them, nope. They're not good enough for my relics. Faye decided, hey, I need more heroes. I'm new. So let's get some hero copies. And those hero copies sent us down a spiral. And the spiral has left us here. We picked up 2 Vulcans, a couple other heroes, and I've just ended up with this selection. Now, if you were going to use 400 relics for heroes, which, by the way, you shouldn't really do, it's typically good, if you're a noob, to choose all of the same hero, because that way you can get multiple copies of, let's say, Garuda, and use those multiple copies to take that Garuda up, because if you look, you need 2 more copies to get her to 10-star. And then you need 1 more for E1, another 1 for E2. You need a 10-star for E3, so that doesn't require a hero copy, that's fine. But then E4 and E5 require more, and that's 9 hero copies in total to get to E5. That's a lot more than the 3 Garudas you currently have to build a 9-star Garuda. Without 9 copies of anybody, we can't build an E5. And without an E5, we can't unlock the Gate of the Void. And without the Gate of the Void, a lot of these resources you have are about as useful as me after 17 beers. Useless. So you'll find here that without an E5 on your account, your goal should be getting an E5. And by not prioritizing hero copies, we haven't done that. And if you look at our shards, we ain't got other hero copies either. Now, I know at this point, you're probably thinking, well, surely the chests aren't that bad. Maybe we've got some hero copies lying around in chests. Because that's the thing. If you go ahead and enter any old game mode, in fact, if you look at the cool events right now, we got the Sky Labyrinth. And you can go into, where is it? It's, nope, not that one, not that one. It's this one. And you can get yourself a 5-star hero chest. And it contains plenty of 5-star heroes for you to choose from. Now, this is typically used by later game players to pick heroes for doing awakens with, or maybe you just want to squeeze out a hero because you realized you didn't have any copies of them and you now need them as a tenant. That's fine. But in early game, you typically would use chests to get someone like, let's say, an Eloise. And that Eloise can actually help you make progress. Or maybe you choose someone like Tix to go ahead and steal attack. Or maybe you want to get on Kiramaru because he's a great tenant. Or Saja for the same reason. And you could build yourself up a pretty decent account. Heck, Ignis or even Waldeck are absolutely fantastic to have as 9-star. You get all those heroes from your chests. So, obviously, we should be saving chests for when we've got an idea for where we want our team to be, and we want to get those chests in to get 9 copies of a particular hero, because progress is fun, right? It's great. So, of course, we don't have any chests, because noobs don't know that. Noobs don't know that they need to save chests for when they have a better idea of who they're going to build. It's so counterintuitive to be a new player in Idle Heroes, and we get so many new players joining the community every single month, and they're all just going ahead doing exactly what this account is doing, not really realizing their mistakes. What you could do is actually build bad heroes. You could build the worst heroes. You could build heroes like Queen, who is useless until you transcend her, which isn't going to be for months. You could build Margaret. You could build, I don't know, who's like really bad here? You've got Karma. Heroes that we could try and get multiple copies of and build them to 9-star or 10-star instead. And you might think, why not would I want to build bad heroes? Well, it's like we said for Garuda. If you can get a 9-star hero that you don't like, because they're bad, you can feed them to that Garuda to make Garuda stronger, and you need more 9-stars and 10-stars to do exactly that, to build an E5. In fact, you should only ever be building one good hero to E5 at a time. And that is why, for an early player, building like this is not very good. Also, whenever you get the opportunity, even though you might not be able to use them right now, sublimation chests, they look like little watermelons, are really useful. And if you do want something you can use right now, get yourself some artifacts, because artifacts are really, really helpful. And actually, when you go ahead and build your first ever splendid artifact, you start getting relics as well. And you can use those relics to build even more artifacts. Typically, if you're a newer player, you'll want to be grabbing yourself a golden crown, just a very good, helpful artifact straight up. And then you'll want to be getting yourself a splendid melodic strings. Now, there are different paths you can take after that, different routes, depending on the heroes you want to go with. A very traditional direction would be to go and grab Rudy Scepters and then focus on some Demon Bells to have 16 Demon Bells. And that's a lot of artifacts you'll need. Other people might be going with more experimental routes and choosing Augustus Magic Ball, because Augustus Magic Ball is a really good defensive artifact if you make it splendid. Once you've got an idea for your artifacts, and you're prioritizing those when they're available, instead of choosing hero copies with your relics, you can make a lot more progress than we are right now. So save your chests, try and save up these resources when you can, go for artifacts and sublimation chests when they're available, and save your gems to get that stuff. And that's what we've got. As you can see, this account doesn't have many artifacts. The best we had was a magic source, and invisible, and the rest of it's red. That's typical for a noob. So if you want to stop being a noob, and you want to get stronger, hopefully you can take the advice I've talked about in today's video, and you'll see yourself making progress. Now, real quick, for the owner of this account, if I was going to fix this up, what I would have to do is make some really tough decisions. I would have to decide where exactly I would like to go with this account. I think you're going to have to realize that Penny is probably going to have to be used as food. Jung, you might even have to use as food, because really you can get by without one in the early game. Azrael, you're going to have to use him as food, and then Garuda, probably going to have to use her as food, or Siahu as well. In fact, these heroes, even though they're all kind of okay, are also absolutely fine to use as food. There's a flag? Holy crap, there's a... Why have you got a flag? Where did that come from? Why have you got a fortress flag? Did you just not read this bit? Reduces the attack and lowers the max HP by 25% during the battle. They're terrible until you've got a Void 4 hero and you know what tenants do. They should ban these until you have a Void 4. Noobs, don't pick these. And if you do pick them, get a Transcendence flag, not a Fortress flag. No. So, quick bit of advice there as well. Oh my goodness me, chat. Good eyes. Very good eyes. Basically, funnily enough, those heroes, you could all use as food if you want. But you need to make sure that you absolutely build yourself an E5 as soon as possible. Stop using your relics to pick up heroes like Vulcan. And if you are going to choose light and dark heroes when you have a chest like this, try and save them. But typically, I would go with, especially if you're an early game player, someone like Carrie. Carrie is amazing. She steals energy from opponents. She's really strong. And is she at the top? Yeah, there she is. So, Carrie, very good hero. Definitely worth picking up if you're a noob. You'll need 5 copies to build a 10-star, and then you can probably think about getting a 9-star Drake after that point. Either way, good luck. And hopefully, with a bit more video watching, a bit more education, and more time engaging with the community, you will find yourself with an E5 hero. If you're a noob like Faye and you want some advice, drop a comment in the comment section down below and we will try to help you out. There are lots of weird questions people ask saying, is it okay to feed this 9-star to that 9-star? And typically, unless you see that hero in loads and loads of game modes and they aren't one of the ones I mentioned today, yeah, that should be fine. But if you've got heroes like Ignis or you've got heroes like Waldeck, they're best saving around because you can use them as supports as 9-stars, and you want to prioritize heroes like Eloise, Tix, Carrie for making early progress. But do your due diligence, do some research, watch a bunch of videos, and if you're ever nervous, join our Discord community and don't be afraid to ask. Until next time though, guys, I hope you've learned something today, and yeah, hopefully as you're a new player and you're growing and developing with the game, you'll join our community and you'll be just as smart as me. Hopefully smarter. Definitely smarter.
Subscribe.
Yes. See you next time, folks. Happy idling.